What's up, Basement Talkers? Brand new episode. I hope you guys really enjoy this one. Who do we have on, Zach?
We got Ian McCall, former UFC fighter, psychedelic activist. It's going to be amazing.
Oh, Vase is wearing pants today. Woo! No shorts, so we're hyped about that.
We're going to come back on the alcohol a little bit for this one.
Just a little bit.
But we got Ian McCall coming on. We got some good content coming out. Like and subscribe.
Let us know if you guys like this intro as well. This is something new, bro.
Yeah, we're going to try it out. We're going out.
This way. He's up, he's up.
All the niggas shoot shit on and on. Court like John Morant. You respond to niggas this. I wait till we bomb. Switch up on the Glock. Fake bullet.
Oh, what's up, bro? Good to see you. You guys here?
Nice to meet you, man.
It's good, my man. Huge fan.
In the house.
Nice to meet you.
Oh, in the house.
Thanks for coming on.
This is Christian.
How you doing? Oh.
Even camera guys.
Toby's in here. Welcome, dude. This is the spot, dude.
Big episode. I like the
Check. Sip T, I'm him. Check. Yeah. Hey, I was trapping at the basement. Mama said stay on that grind, boy, be patient.
And I was like, sweetheart, you have to remember, I'm coaching her through it. I'm like, you have to speak into it like it's a dick. And she just looked at me. She's like, can we change that to like ice cream cone? I was like, perfect. Next
Are
time
we
I'm
filming?
like,
You're doing the same
I
thing.
think we're
gonna start
it off with that. That's gotta be funny.
Yeah,
you know,
that's it.
even though like we're friends being gross. But
That's perfect. But
that's
guys,
yeah, how's it going?
welcome back to Basement Talk. Welcome Zach, Kyler, Avi. We're back. We're finally back in the studio. Today we have a very, very special guest with us, Uncle Creepy MMA, aka Ian McCall.
That name died a while ago.
Did it?
Yeah,
Uncle
that was
Creepy?
that
Uncle Creepy.
that whole thing was a joke from fucking my. So I wasn't. Everyone always knew how good I was at fighting, but I was such a degenerate that they didn't. I was in and out of rehab, in and out of jail. Like just, I'm not the only one that's this good that could have achieved. I did achieve really cool shit. You know, I became a superstar for a while. But I got out of rehab for the second time, and I was fighting for money. And my friend's son had called me that one night, and we said it as everyone heard it, like Uncle Creepy. And everyone sat up and they're like, "That's it. That's your nickname." And I was like, "Fuck, okay."
Like, okay, let's just roll with it. Then he got stuck with
well,
it.
shit. Now he's wrestling in high school. He's killing it too. Proud of him. But my first fight back, it was just supposed to be for money real quick, you know, and I ran over this guy that I was still friends with. I knew I could beat him up. So I'm like, cool, yeah, I'll get paid to fight, Jeff. That's fine. You know, like whatever. And my team behind my back put Uncle Creepy down as the joke. And it stuck, and I had this stupid fucking mustache already, and they just this whole thing grew. The UFC found out about it, and they loved it, and they made that my moniker and all this shit. And I was like, these motherfuckers, like this is so stupid. And then fast forward to like a few years ago until I really was able to get it off my Instagram because it's coming out of my mouth when I'm talking to you guys. Sorry.
Get it off your Instagram.
Yeah, I was finally able to get it off my Instagram because, like, I don't want it on there. I'm a pillar of the scientific community, and you know,
Uncle
like
Creepy
of
science.
psychedelics. And they're like, what the
Creepy
fuck?
science.
Like, what is that? And I'm like, I know it's a long story. Like, I always wanted to be a scientist as a kid, and I like two things: I like animals and I like chemicals. As a kid, you know, I liked altered states of reality. I started smoking when I was 8. I started taking psychedelics at 12.
Wow.
Wow. And not old, that's not a good thing. That can lead to being crazy, like I was saying. And
how did you, like, you're 8 years old, how did you kind of...
What's that introduction into weed like?
I came home from private school. I got kicked out of a bunch of private schools for good reason growing up. Fighting and drugs, weed and whatever. My brother and I were up to dumb shit.
Being creepy?
Yeah, being creepy. And I was a fucking troublemaker, you know, and we grew up part of the 1%, you know, part of like most of us, very affluent lifestyles, private school. My great whatever grandfather was president of the United States of America.
Wow.
Franklin Pierce, the guy that started the Civil War for slavery. It's my grandpa.
Wow.
Crazy.
You know,
Super
yeah, a long
crazy.
time ago.
That's wild.
And being a comedian for the last 5 years, I don't do it anymore. I don't have time. Was a fun topic to bring up on stage, especially in like LA and shit. And people were just like, what the fuck? And I never made it funny. It just was something interesting to talk about because, I don't know, thought-provoking.
The presidency or the drugs?
All of it combined. You know, I was the degenerate black sheep of the family, and then, you know, I found the weed. I came home and my brother was smoking, and he was 11. I was like, my older brother's the coolest person you know at this point in your life. And I was like, yo, what the, my little cute little outfit, my little private school outfit from St. John's in Laguna Beach, right on PCH.
I know St. John's.
Yeah, I love that school. That school was great to me. Fuck, I really loved growing up there. That was an amazing childhood I had with there.
I went to Stony Brook.
No one ever touched me. It was a great fucking school. They were a little, you know, they're nuns. Of course, they're fucking mean, but they weren't that bad. I never got my ass kicked or anything. Like, it was a great time. And I was like, whoa, what are you smoking? He's like, weed. I was like, all right, well, where'd you get it? Because I stole it from Dad. And I was like, oh my God, what the fuck? The two coolest people in my life? Like my brother, my older brother, and my dad. I was like, sign me up. And my dad, my dad always had the best weed. He smuggled cannabis around the world in the 70s. Not to make money. Just to have an adventure, just to leave. His brother died when he was 18. And my dad was 16. So once he was able, he bounced. It was his best friend, you know. And he went, I mean, he's got stories of being in like Kathmandu, fucking, you know, all over the planet smuggling hash. And he had, you know, it was a heavy hair down to his ass, big old mustache like mine. He's an amazing person. So it kind of left the door open for me to be naughty because he, you know, I could open a drawer and find some shit. And it was well hidden, but I was a little shit, so I was looking for it. And then, that just led into being another naughty kid, having naughty friends.
And when you were first doing it, was it like, were you really thinking about the feeling or?
Oh yeah, I just like to get high. It was fun. It was a lot of fun, you know. Like I liked being stoned. I have more memories of being high than I do of being sober, for sure, in my life, for sure. Like, probably a lot more. Which, you know, some people look at as an issue. I'm a coach to help people heal themselves. Like, how can you be functioning like this? I don't know. I'm helping you heal. This is my own. Don't worry about me. Like, I'm gonna be cool. You're here. Let's worry about you. You know.
Since you like started smoking so young, did you ever like peer pressure one of the private school kids to smoke with you and shit?
No. I had to keep that shit a secret.
Did you ever smoke during a fight?
Gotten high and fought. I fought on Oxycontin in Japan. My last couple of fights, yeah. I see. So this was
that sounds like a fever dream.
Yeah,
fucking lit.
So by the end of my career, I was addicted to fentanyl and heroin. I mean, I was on heroin. Fucking not the end of my career. I was on heroin for all of.
When you were in the UFC,
yeah.
Wow.
That's why I got sick in Brazil. I got sick in Ireland, and I got sick in New York.
Because you were weaning.
Because I was detoxing the last week, and, you know. And would end up in the fucking. I would make the weight, and my body would just shut down. It would fuck me up for like months after that. So, you know, all that stress, it was not healthy.
Did Dana know about that?
They were drug testing me all the time.
So they had to know.
Yeah.
Like, I think so. You know, maybe that those weren't the drugs that popped hot. They couldn't get mad about it.
Yeah.
They've implemented things, and these are my friends. I don't want to say anything negative about Dana. Dana's incredible.
Yeah.
I work on the UFC with the UFC on a scientific level. I'm one of the reasons why they've evolved is idiots like me who have pushed the boundaries of dumb things. And they love me. They're my friends. You know, I've known Dana since I was 19. Because I was, you know, Chuck Liddell was like, this is going to be the next world champion. This is my little buddy riding my coattail. And I got to see the world from that age with Chuck and with, you know, all these legends that I adored, I looked up to, are like my dear friends.
That's
like I show up to like baby showers and they're like, hey man, you know,
That's awesome.
it's cool. It's a cool life. And now I'm helping them all heal because they're all really fucked up. None of them are doing stellar.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, like even if their brains aren't really receding that fast, they feel it for sure. Well, and behind closed doors, maybe even in person. I don't know if they'll do it publicly. That's what I'm getting at with my nonprofit, is to tell them to heal them and have them tell their stories. But not everybody wants to talk about shit publicly, you know. And whatever, that's their I'm going to heal them no matter what. These are my friends. But to see the difference, the research that I'm doing with ayahuasca this year, with the University of Melbourne and the Ayahuasca Foundation, Anya Sciences down in Peru, I'm so excited to go down there. It's been over 2 years since I've done ayahuasca, almost 2.5. And
what is that?
Ayahuasca?
Yeah.
Ayahuasca is a brew, a tea basically they make out of two different vines, a plant and a vine, and it induces psychedelic visions for 8 hours.
Wow.
10 hours. And you go into the jungles and you sit with these little brown people that don't speak a language you've ever heard, and they give you this potion, and you sit in their little hut and you go through. And now there's retreat centers that are beautiful. You don't have to go with me on a fucking 20-hour boat ride. You can just go to Costa Rica or Mexico, or you can do it here in Orange County, LA. I don't recommend it as a Westerner who. I'm over 10% native Mexican, but I'm still a Westerner. I have Western values, and it's how I was raised. I tell people, even though I'm a Westerner who serves, don't sit with Westerners who serve medicine, because we all have ego. We're just people. Go sit. If you want the real experience, some people can't afford to go to out of country or time, whatever it is. So they need that bridge. My first bridge was a white person who gave me, medicine, and it was an amazing experience. But to really get the real, to have them sing their songs to you while you're, and they pull you in and out of this journey.
Or they're doing it with you, I assume.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they drink it with you.
And what type of person would that sort of drug be for? If
people who are addicted, people who are traumatized. Everyone has trauma in their life. That's just the human condition. And once we realize that there's only a few different kinds of trauma, and if you just think, there's sexual, there's violence, there's emotional, there's those sort of things. It's very limited. We're all affected. More than one of those traumas has happened to every single one of us in this room, or some of us have had everything happen to them. That's just you get a bad, roll of the dice sometimes. But to heal those traumas, because what happens is trauma will embed in your tissue. Okay, it'll get inside there, it'll fester, it'll turn to inflammation, and inflammation is the root cause of everything: depression, anxiety. In the end, it'll kill you. It's cancer. It's Alzheimer's. I'm watching my cousin die right now of ALS, and I've been feeding him a ton of mushrooms for the last year. It did really well, but he was too far gone when we started.
So
Sorry.
I have a question. So you also work with professional athletes with psychedelic treatments and stuff like that, correct?
That's the thing, is I'm taking these athletes to the jungles to tell their stories. Number one, I need analytics. I've even got the UFC to agree to a study that we're doing phase 2, but I'll get to that later. With ayahuasca, I'll get everyone tested with whatever testing modalities I can fit into their schedule while here, and then we go to Peru, out into the middle of the jungles in a bio reserve at the Ayahuasca Foundation, the most authentic you can get. And they just built a new center, and he's like, the owner's like, it's a little rustic. I'm like, perfect. Even though the list of people, just the first 6 or 8, there's over 50 world titles. Those are the kind of friends I have who are so fucking accomplished that want to do this with me. And those people are going to coach after. You have that many titles. Time to grow up, Peter Pan. Give the kids a try.
For sure.
You're at towards the end of your career. What's next? As a responsibility, as a martial artist, I'm holding you to a higher standard than most people. You're bigger, stronger, faster. One of the most dangerous people on the planet, male and female, and not just fighting, but rugby players and race car drivers and these high level achievers who, through what I call the pollination effect, is they pollinate as the queen bee with the information and the research body. I give them the proper information, and they go out and they pollinate all those people within their ecosystem, which is a blue check mark. Okay, people don't listen to doctors or scientists anymore, for good cause, because most of them are, it's been gross, science and medicine have been it's been really fucked up and it's done us very wrong. But people will, for some reason, listen to fucking idiots with blue check marks, you know, and you're like, even
anyone could buy one now.
Yeah. And I see a lot of these people saying shit and I'm just like, oh, fuck, God damn it. So I just take it upon myself to be the best version of a martial artist, of a coach, of a world champion, you know, with a person I have to carry myself, because people look up to me. I get to go on stage and talk about healing and about my journey. I mean, I went from being this, I mean, I in 3 different countries, I showed up and girls were crying. And that's a really fucking weird feeling.
Or what? Like,
because I was there.
You're just there. They just
You were
start
him,
crying.
bro.
But
I was
going
fucking
back,
in
like,
the building, you know, and
I wish the
right,
girls did that for me.
right?
Dude.
And dude, it's a weird response. I like Chuck Liddell, my older brother in the sport. He always looked at me. He goes, "Remember, motherfucker, you're not that cool. No matter what happens, you're not that cool. You know, you engage with all these people. You look them in the eyes. You hug them. You sign their autographs. Take their pictures. You talk to them as much as you can. And every time, you know, a girl's crying, I'm fucking taking my shirt off. I'm signing it for them. I'm like, here you go. I'm usually in a hotel where I can. I'm like, yeah, peace. I know you want to see me with my shirt off anyways. I know how this whole fantasy works. Like, I have to give what the fans want at that point.
Are girls more attractive with blue check marks?
They like boys with blue check marks. That's for surely a positive. You know,
He's this dude. I've been following you for years. He's had a blue check mark before this wave.
Oh, it was over a decade. And, you know, and I was a playboy. You know, TMZ was calling me. Who am I dating? Like, all this. Really crazy.
But you said you wanted to be a scientist when you were a kid. What made you want to pursue a career in MMA?
Really good at violence. I was really good at fighting. You know, as a kid, I could beat up adults by the time I was 14, 15. And I was 100 pounds. Yeah. Not like I was big. I could fuck, not just adults, but not just frat guys like I would practice on. I could beat up trained grown men in the gym. And fuck them up, you know.
When did you know, like, it was in you?
Yeah,
was it like a specific situation where you're like, holy shit?
Oh, I started training when I was 4.
Oh my god!
Oh, so this isn't from like street fights or anything. This is
there was a lot of street fights in there. I didn't act like a martial artist. I just beat the fuck out of everybody. I was just fucking trying to sharpen my tools because I knew I wanted to be the best ever, and there was no amateur circuit. Damn. So a lot of frat guys, a lot of middle-aged men got the fucking bark beat off them. Yeah. Sorry. I don't know, I was crazy. And I hit my head, you know, snowboarding when I was like 15 really hard. And it kind of made me go a little crazy after that. But yeah, with fighting, I don't know, it was just what I always did. I've been told I'm on the spectrum by a doctor.
Who said that, dude?
One of my doctors. And we're talking. I was like talking about my brother. I'm like, this motherfucker, he's always making fun of me for being retarded and like acting like I'm special or something. And she looks at me and goes, she's like, you know, you're on the spectrum, right? And I was like, no. Are you fucking serious? I'm 36. It's like, damn it, really?
Oh, that's hilarious.
Like, okay, well, makes a lot of sense. I was like, let's just forget about that for now and let's talk about mom. You know, I gotta clear those issues up. So I never revisited it with a doctor. I just laughed it off and I was like, okay, cool. Because I know, like, one of my, you guys want to have a surfer on, Giorgio Gomez. Speaking of autistic people. He's you know, diagnosed with Asperger's, and he's like my little brother.
Is he the world champ?
He beat the current best guy in the world, and he made it to the finals of the world championships in El Salvador a couple months ago. And he to see the change in him, because psychedelics and autism research, obviously he's a moose. He's a fucking super athlete, and a lot of us that are afflicted are high achievers. We're very good at what we do, but we get obsessive because this is all we know, and all I had was, I didn't have school. I got kicked out of all the schools I went to for beating people up or for not going to class or not paying attention or just not having those skills. But now with psychedelics, I've been able to like retain information outside of how to fight. You know, and I mean, I guess I've always had the weird things that I've paid attention to with rainforest animals and weird shit. But you know, like I went to science camp as a kid. Like I look back, I'm like, oh man, I was a total dork. Interesting. My room was painted as a fucking rainforest. My entire room.
Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah. So.
What do you think about Zuckerberg versus Elon, by the way?
Well, I think Elon has Neuralink installed in his head already. He's learned.
No CTE for Elon.
Yeah, and I know that, you know what? The unhealthy manner that Elon is using, I know he's building this whole thing out in his brain, but he's one fatal flaw. He doesn't understand the body well enough. And he's using things like semaglutide to lose a bunch of weight. And I know about peptides and stem cells because I work with Pyxis Biologics, and I sell a fuckload of it. I sell peptides to a lot of people in Hollywood specifically.
Wait, so what are peptides?
Peptides are naturally occurring amino acids or proteins in your body, like steroids.
You can sell some to give
the
more.
fountain of youth. Think of what the performance benefits we were told steroids would give us. It didn't give us, and they had all the negative effects. This is naturally occurring in our bodies. So you can regenerate anything, and it's really wild. The life sciences whole industry, you know, the whole people. I don't know if you guys hear people talk about stem cells.
Yeah.
Stem cells, exosomes.
That stuff can completely change your body, right?
I watched my friend grow back his C6 and C7 vertebra after he crashed a kiteboard. He was Richard Branson's kiteboarding coach, and he was down at Travis Pastrana's spot in Panama. Fucking ran into a building or some shit. And yeah, now he's Brad Fox. He's a rad dude. But I mean, you can grow back anything.
I know a lot of extreme sports. Yeah, people are using that all the time.
Yeah,
just to heal.
I'm trying to get some actually again really soon in down to Tijuana, Mexico. I need to go down there for Ibogaine. It's one psychedelic I haven't done yet. And
Is that the only reason you go down to TJ?
No, go to Hong Kong's.
Little sushi action.
Yeah, you know, I do not partake in whorehouses anymore.
Good.
Well,
But I you know what? I mean, I love TJ. I'll go hang out at one. I don't know if I want to be.
Yeah.
I'll go with my friends if they want to do it. You know, I'm not against fucking going, but like the
Maybe
thing
you'll
is
film a little
because,
vlog up there.
You know, like you got to think about this.
Fucking Ian, dude.
It's human trafficking. You know, with the new movie that's out, like being in this serious note, like my ex-wife, fucking, she works in the human, like in the advocacy space.
In what way?
Just talking to people and, you know, being part of the pillar of the community of safe children and all
helping
that. Helping
people who have been abused and stuff.
And trying to, you know, Tim Ballard, the guy that made the movie
Sound of Freedom.
Sound of Freedom.
Yeah.
It's great. And I've always been, obviously, like I wear a bracelet for my buddy's human trafficking, anti-human trafficking organization. You know, so it's close to me. So me going down there and hanging out, you know, I don't know.
For sure, I think it gets tricky
because, like, I don't know.
Controversial.
I like going down to fucking go do TJ shit. You know, TJ stuff is fun, but it's like, I don't know if I.
At what cost?
Yeah, exactly? You got to think of, like, as the Westerner, you're like, we're now, you know, feeding this thing that we can't be a part of.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
But while we're still on the topic, I want to encourage all our viewers that is a great movie, and I do highly recommend.
I thought you were about to encourage him to go down there. I was like,
no.
Purple Rain.
No, I encourage you to watch that movie for
And
sure. I mean,
got a
have you
good
guys
message.
seen it?
No.
I haven't
It's
seen it. I'm
fucking
going to watch
incredible.
it.
It's amazing.
As Westerners, we are consumptive of this product of its humans. It's part of the culture. Like, to be a young man in Southern California, especially fucking who come from a good life with finances, like, everyone goes down there and partakes in what Tijuana has to offer. But then when you really, like, look into it, when I really fell into all this, I was dating a woman that was from former Yugoslavia, Serbia now.
I'm Yugoslavian.
Okay, so good people, strong people. But what the fuck you guys have been through? I mean, she is also, she's 50 years old and she's crazy looking. like so pretty, and she's one of those people who's on TV selling her products.
Oh yeah.
So she's a UCLA professor and scientist and shaman. Her grandmother was a shaman, so she was, you know, well trained in science and agricultural stuff all the way to chemistry and like fucking everything. And she taught me a lot about science, but also about how naive fucking the West is, or West Americans specifically are, to how this is a problem. She's like, you know, yeah, I don't need to go into
the movie explains it pretty
into
well.
her personal interactions with fucking Albanians and shit, trying to kidnap her as a kid.
That's crazy.
You know, but this has been a thing that's happened ever since. People have been trafficked, people have been enslaved, people have been used as whatever you do with a slave.
I want to say too, congrats on your recent fight.
Thank you.
Last weekend, right?
Yes.
Last weekend, you kicked the shit out of some influencer.
Yeah, that was fun.
Influencer.
Awesome. Yeah, this kid like.
Yeah, let's change subjects.
Okay. But like this kid, some influencer out there, he might even watch this, but he kicked the shit out of him, and then he came back at you on Instagram, right? Or he's trying to set up a fight. Like, fuck you, bro.
Yeah,
You can fight us.
What the fuck, dude?
He's been sitting on this ever since I told him like an hour, couple hours.
He told me this like 2 hours ago.
He's been cooking inside
mad,
you.
Yeah, we got your back.
Wait, we gotta know.
Yeah, bro.
Okay.
Like,
okay.
You
Obviously, I'm
watch
not
this.
that mad about
obviously,
it.
I don't want you to.
Ian doesn't care.
I don't want you to beat my ass or anything, but yeah.
No, so okay.
Yeah, dude, you can fucking watch it.
I had a match. I came out of retirement for the first time in 5 years.
Wow, congrats. That's
I don't
awesome.
want to fucking compete. It's stressful.
Yeah.
You know, I just like beat up my students, but like I'm cool with just.
I don't want to train at your gym anymore now.
Like I get to teach them, you know, through this is hard. This is supposed to suck. This is why you're here. You know, I just do it safely. I've been doing jiu-jitsu and wrestling for 26 years, so it's been a long time. And the guys at Subversive, which is a big platform for jiu-jitsu, wanted me to come in and talk about psychedelics and talk about the sponsorships, why these mushroom sponsors are popping up and what the benefits are of psychedelics. And also to push my nonprofit. You know, I'm trying to raise money so I can take people down there. Because most people don't want to pay for it. You know, it's still so fringe. I'm like, okay, look, I have 10 seats. You ready to go? Hop on.
That's awesome. Do you want to share the name of it?
Yeah, it's called Athlete's Journey Home. And we are a scientific-based nonprofit where we're doing the research to provide the world with the benefits of measurable science. Okay, so think of black as dead tissue from a traumatic brain injury, and you have white is the living tissue. And there's a whole spectrum of gray. You know, how much can we show we heal? How much of it can we make better? And as science likes to always tell me I can't do something, we can't heal the black. I don't believe you. You know, I don't believe science, because last time I didn't believe science, I proved him wrong. And just kind of how the process works. You know, you have irresponsible science is good science. You know, that you had to
Like testing theories and stuff.
Pushing the boundaries of science. Yeah.
I'm actually very curious now though on like your perspective of the whole last 3 years, honestly, with this. What happened to COVID, guys? Like, what?
Oh man, yeah. As a researcher in the body, I understand the inflammatory system really well, and kind of just, you know, the chemistry of humans, of how it all works, and the cascades of, you know, putting this molecule in your body, what happens all the way down over an extended period of time, and living with that same scientist woman. We were locked in the house for fucking 2 years because of COVID. I'd roll over every day and go, "Hey, baby, I have a question," and she would just fucking teach me every single day. We had whiteboards and all this stuff, and she just taught me how to be a researcher. What are you reading? Even I saw her the other night. She came over. And she's like, "What research have you been doing?" And she's this, you know, 6 foot tall, very commanding person. And I was just like, "Fuck, I've been lacking. I'm sorry. Like, I haven't been doing enough research. I'm fucking sorry, sweetheart. You know, we're just friends now. Like, but she's, you know, it doesn't change the fact how much I fucking love that woman."
Yeah. How much did she help you on like the journey that you're on now with your psychedelic push and all that?
Well, I understood the physical science, But psychedelics is not just about the physical. It's about the spiritual. You know, the mental side of it. There's the performative side of it. I mean, my fighter, Mark Irwin, who I'll bring up, have him come on the show. He won his world title on 7.5 grams of mushrooms, which, you know, 3.5 is therapy, where you're supposed to be in an outer body experience. He was at 7. I was at 5 in his corner.
They allow you to do that when you fight?
They don't know. They don't drug test for it. I mean, the UFC doesn't test for it. The UFC knows. Actually, I'm sure they know. The commissions don't know.
It's not an enhancement, right?
Yeah, it is.
I feel like it's definitely.
Really?
Sure it makes
Do
a
you
leg.
feel more productive when you're under the influence of that stuff?
A million percent. But I found a legal loophole. Again, I worked so closely with the UFC. I figured out. I was like, wait, you guys don't test for psilocybin or acid, LSD? And they're like, no. I was like, oh fuck. Okay.
This is dangerous.
I just so happened to be doing research on this exact stuff, because that's what I was just like, hey, I'm gonna punch it into USADA's website because I'm doing research on this stuff myself. And I would like to apply it to UFC fighters because I know the benefits of it now. So I punched it in there, and I saw it, and I texted Jeff Nowitzki, and I was like, hey, man, I have to be prepared for the questions I ask. I always ask why or what's next or what, you know. So I went to Jeff, and I was like, hey, we've already been trying to do CBD studies since 2015. They asked me to make them a post-fight concussion serum to help fighters with, you know, concussions. And that fell through, but we'd already been trying to do studies with it. I'm like, even if you're not going to buy the product, if that's not going to work, let me just help the athletes and put them into these studies. And it never quite worked. And I came back to the table, and I was like, hey, can we do a psilocybin study? And of course I got there, you're crazy. And I said, I know, but I work with real scientists. I'm dating a scientist. I'm working with all these people. And he goes, all right, well, you know the rules. I have to have the FDA involved, and I have to have a major university. And I was like, I got that earlier. Right before this call, I made sure I had those two things to present to you, because I don't fuck around. The access was easier than I thought to get, realistically. I just talk and I act, and I have a fucking blue check mark, so I can just kick in doors. I go, fucking hey, you know? And I also, you know, wielded that same woman like a sword in business.
Yeah.
Like, she's a fucking big deal. She's a really famous scientist. And that came with other smart people. And, like, you know, just kind of poked around and figured out how all this worked. And I don't pitch the performative benefits of it as much as I do the TBI science, because it's still pretty fringe to say I took fucking 2 hits of acid and beat that kid up last weekend. And it was just not a fight. He is a talented young man, but he's a 22-year-old kid. He's cocky as fuck.
Can we say his name?
Yeah, Smitty Witt. He's a stud.
Smitty Witt.
Smitty Witt's gonna beat us up now, Kobe.
He doesn't suck. I'm sure he'd come on your show. He's an influencer. He's a cool kid. But we're just
Sorry, bro.
We're talking shit, and fuck him.
Yeah, fuck him.
You know, you guys can make fun of him in person. And
I don't know if we will.
and you know,
I'll do it if you're like in the corner.
Just
fucking
behind that and shit.
Yeah, dude. In case he fucking comes at me.
He's a badass. But again, I've been doing jiu-jitsu and wrestling longer than he's been alive, at a really high level. I never stopped. You know, I reached a high level when I was younger than he is, when I was 15. So I'm like, look, dude, I'll fucking smash you. You know, let's just play. And once I finally tied up with him, because it was for a good cause to promote the nonprofit, and I tied up with him, and I was like, oh, damn it. So I just threw him to the ground like a little kid and mounted him, and I was like, okay, this is your Super Bowl. This is your big moment. I was like covering his mouth. You know, like fucking with him. I'm like, come on. Like, let's do this.
Oh, I saw a clip of that.
Because like he's not gonna give me any,
Isn't
you know,
this
any
little
sort of
kid
thing. And I was like,
week?
you, what are you gonna do, dude?
Was he talking pretty heavy before?
Yeah, and he's still talking because I was just someone goes, well, someone posted the video of a cool jiu-jitsu clip of these guys going a million miles an hour, and someone put, this is what Smitty, Whitney, and McCall should have been, and I was like, no,
Dude, it wasn't that
shit,
hard.
That shit doesn't work on me.
Wait, how old are you right now?
39.
Dude, Tony Ferguson just fought this last card. He's 39, right?
Yeah, and
Did you ever make another debut?
No, fuck no. I'm one of the faces of traumatic brain injury science. I can't go giving her PTSD.
If
You
Dana
had a
called you,
legendary
if,
UFC career.
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well.
and plus the person that makes me, even this new competitiveness that I'm coming out of retirement to be, a professional athlete. I've got Stance as a sponsor, which is cool. Thank you, Stance. I train one of the founders and his daughter, so it's nice to have cool friends.
if Dana called you though, and he was like, "Yo, you gotta come back," would you do it since he's your boy?
McGregor's talking shit. Like,
No. I don't want to get punched in the face anymore. I got offered a Floyd Mayweather fight like
What?
a year ago, over a year ago.
You say that
because
like
he's
it-
been fighting a lot of just.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he wouldn't have paid you.
They just we got up to like $2.5 million. It's because of my old agent, Frank Shamrock. Frank goes, "Hey man, I know you're not fighting anymore, but would you fight Floyd?" I was like, "What? Really?" He's like, "Yeah, they just like the way you look. They like your story, who you are." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, how much?" At first I was like, Then he started to throw some 6-figure, 7-figure numbers at me, and I was like, "Okay, let's do it." So $2.5 million.
Ducked you.
would talk to me, and I could do a live traumatic brain injury study on myself because I'm getting knocked the fuck out.
So what happened?
They picked somebody else that were cheaper,
He was scared of you.
but I spent. He went with like a real boxer who was way cheaper. So, whatever you want to call it, I'm not saying it was just one of many people that it was brought up to. I went into Ruka to work with Chito because Chito Vera is a dear friend of mine. I'm like, cool. I'm gonna jump right back into the shit with one of the best in the world because I don't fuck around.
Just rolling or full?
No, but we were boxing.
Oh.
And Chito and I were moving around boxing all week,
Chito's got hands.
and I was like, okay, like I fucking still got it, bro. I touched Chito up a little bit here and there. He's playing with me, but he's letting me feel confident about myself. And then we sparred heavy on Saturday and fucking 4 rounds in, whack, and I was like, whoa. And my legs buckled and I popped back up and he's like, "You okay?" And I was like,
Yo.
I don't want to be here.
Is that Rucas, that like training facility in San Clemente?
No, it's now gone.
Is it? That thing was sick.
So Pat Tenori.
I remember you were training there a bunch.
Yeah, Pat. I mean, that's a legendary place, a legendary house of MMA, and boxing and fucking jiu-jitsu. Like, that sucks that place is gone. But someone bought Board Riders, I think is the name of the company that bought Ruka, and the money people were like, "This is not happening. This whole thing is not. It's too expensive." So they bought it, and it's their vision, but they kind of fucked up, because that was the coolness of it. So Pat's gone, and Pat had this this kind of like, I guess it was a big fuck you to Ruka. It was exit through the surf shop party event, his art installation in Costa Mesa, because he cashed out 3 times on this fucking deal, I think, so far. He's made a lot of money. So Pat was just like, "Fuck you! You're trying to kill all this." He white-walled the whole building. He took all of his art, which made this empty fucking warehouse space what it was. It was a giant art studio. And it was just, kind of, obviously what didn't end on good terms, but it's now, whatever Pat's going to do is going to turn to gold.
So when a couple of years ago, I remember you were telling me when you were like up and coming, about to get into the UFC, you were spending some time with Joe Rogan. Like, did you stay at his house? I remember you were telling me.
No. Joe and I were just hanging out. Like,
I remember I thought you were telling me like you used to like couch with him and stuff all the time.
No, not with Joe. I would go hang out with Joe and see him perform places.
Okay.
I had hit the scene, and the UFC made me that superstar, and I went on Joe's show 3 or 4 times.
I saw that.
And
On his podcast or?
Yeah, he's been
Okay.
on. Yeah.
yeah, back in the day.
That was like early days before
Early
it was
days.
big.
Yeah, it was gaining steam, but it wasn't that big yet. Podcasting wasn't even that big yet, really of a big thing.
Right.
Wasn't
it
a
was
thing.
like-
I think Joe put him.
it was already one of the
Who would
biggest
be here?
podcasts in the
Joe
world.
put everyone on the map with
Right.
podcasting.
And Joe, Joe asked to be my friend, and I was like, cool. Joe's rad. He's a great person to have him reach out. And we stopped talking. I still don't know why. But I was also crazy on drugs and fucking.
Stuff
Maybe he just got too busy. I don't know. I asked him questions, and like Eddie Bravo was like, he's just busy. And I was like, okay. Of course, my feelings were hurt. But
Have you ever like
You grow up
partied
and you
with
get
those
over it.
guys?
I've
Joe
hung
and
out.
Dana and all those. I'm
Yeah.
sure. Have you played blackjack with Dana?
No. I don't gamble. I can only afford to gamble with my life.
Have you seen him gambling though? It's pretty wild.
Yes. Oh yeah. I spent so much time in Las Vegas since I was 19 with Chuck. So we'd fly out there, and back then MMA was looked at in the same vein as porn. So it was us and a bunch of fucking porn stars and gangsters and Hell's Angels and fucking these parties were just, and you know, it was a very interesting.
Must be some fucking crazy parties.
Right. I mean, can you share some
Hell's
like,
Angels in the corners, fighters in the
share
other.
some people and like moments that not only inspired your early career, but some crazy sort of.
Well, that was the thing.
No one's heard of stuff.
I got up to San Luis Obispo to go to college to wrestle, and I had already met Jake Shields and Antonio Benuelos, two old school famous fighters. Antonio was when I moved, I met him when I was 15. By the time I moved up there at 19, he was the best in the world, WEC champion. And I show up to the gym, and I'm getting the better of the current world champion, and I'm a 19-year-old kid. And they were just like, oh, who the fuck is this person? You know, and Antonio and I are best friends. But like I was always at that young age was just making him better, making him win, training with being a training partner, and just coming into my own. But then the first time they're like, "Who the fuck are you? You know, you're really good." I'm like, "Oh, well, you know, I need guidance." So to be the little brother of it all, to be set as like to be positioned with Dana, like this is you become champion. This is when you do this in your book and so on. Was a cool experience. You know, I fucked it up because of drugs. Drugs are bad, but bad drugs. Psychedelics are fine.
Do you regret it?
Yeah, of course, but like not really. It is what it is. I'm here telling my story. My life is great. You know, my life is I have certain regrets, of course, because I had, you know, I was plugged into greatness. I beat one of the current greatest champions of all time, Demetrius Johnson.
Arguably the best UFC fighter of all time.
Yeah. Like that's how good I am, and people knew that. But I was addicted to heroin. So
did you get addicted to drugs because you were making so much money? You think?
No, I got addicted to drugs when I was like 14 from my degenerate friends giving me pills.
Yeah.
After wrestling tournaments.
What's the most you've made on a fight?
I've been in 7 figures, but it's I shouldn't say per fight. Because back then, the fights didn't pay much, but it was the sponsors.
I see.
And the appearances. And I had to keep up with this appearance schedule where, you know, they're paying you $10,000 to show up places.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, and you're just fucking and then life just turns into a party because each one of those appearances, especially when you're fucking an addict and there's no fight coming up, you're just partying and partying and partying and partying.
What was like, so
Assuming.
Was like after the Vegas fights the best parties ever because you guys were in Vegas?
Yeah.
Because like I can't imagine. Like, did you guys party up in like suites or clubs or like where was it?
Oh, I've done everything Vegas has ever.
Could we all go to Vegas with you one day?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Go. Fuck yeah. Let's go. We'll go out to my buddies' clubs and we'll go do day party shit.
Yeah. Let's do it.
It's you know, you want to spend some money. Like I can just introduce you to the dudes. I can go with you, or you can go on your own. Like here's your number.
off.
Or you could do your thing. I'm an old dude. But no, I'll go with you because it's fun. I need to go to Vegas again.
Maybe we'll film a video of you like running a table with Dana or something.
I don't gamble. I stay low key now. You know what I mean? Like very rarely because I travel for a living.
Yeah, and you're working on a lot of stuff too.
I'm
sure it's hard to
always like
balance.
I just did 10 different time zones in 12 weeks.
That's crazy.
And then I had only 3 weeks to get ready for my match. That's why I wasn't in the best shape. And he was like, "You were getting tired." And I was like, "Yeah, stupid. I held you down for 6 minutes. That was the goal. You didn't do anything. You know, I'm exhausted. I only trained for 3 weeks. This is your big moment. You want to fuck around and find out. I'm gonna rip your head off your shoulders next time."
Dude, I saw a clip of you, and this is something I saw on one of Joe Rogan's podcasts too. Mike Tyson was saying how he gets off on fighting, and I was like, wait, what? And then I saw a clip of you kind of saying something similar.
I modeled my life after Mike. And I was coaching Mike for a little bit, for like 6 months. I don't know if Mike knew I was his coach. everyone around him brought him in as a coach and was providing him with medicine.
He's local too here, right?
Yeah. Mike's Mike's an interesting creature. He tried to fight me eventually. And I was like, you know what? I don't think this friendship's over.
What?
It's a scary friendship.
You know, I'm not afraid of you, old
Dude,
man.
he would have whooped him.
For 6 months, but that was the thing. So I stood up and I was like, fuck yeah, I get to fight Mike Tyson. You know, I get to, like, we're gonna test these skills out right now because I'm not bitching out to you. Fuck you. You know, no one tries to emasculate me and tries to get crazy with me, especially when I've done nothing wrong.
But mind you, it's Mike Tyson. That's
the fun part.
It's Ian McCall.
Yeah. So he's, you know, and I've already navigated the space of being his friend and being his coach or whatever fucking they had me around for. And I'm hugging him or wrestling or fucking around talking shit and eating mushrooms and smoking weed. And the whole time I'm like, I could choke the fuck out of you. You know, I could totally have this figured out. You're not that big. You're not that strong. You know, you're scary, but like I can navigate this. So as just a psychopath, that's what I do with every single interaction of a human that's bigger than me and stronger than me. You know, I'm like, I could kill you. You know, just as my friends. You know, it fucking doesn't matter who it is. I just always analyze them. You know, it's been my weird obsession my whole life. And
Killing people?
well, no, fighting them. Not
Bouncing
killing
their
people.
heads off
You know,
the canvas.
thinking
that's
of ways too.
thinking of ways to strangle the
knowing
life.
you can.
Yes, thinking of the
Contract killer.
of the I have some friends who are, you know, SEAL team guys that were those. And no, I'm not one of them. Those dudes are fucking scary. They scare the shit out of me. I could beat them up, sure, but like they're fucking, it's dark.
Has anyone like tried to like test you at like a restaurant or a bar
Wait,
once,
no.
not knowing?
I want to go back to Mike Tyson. Really
Okay,
Okay,
so
fine.
Mike Tyson. You know, he was high on mushrooms and he mistook something I said, and thought I was a racist against white people. And I was like, he's like, you're a racist, and I was like, wait, what? And he's sitting there. It's the pandemic. I gotta be woke. I was like, what the fuck? I'm a half breed. I was like, oh no, racism. And I was
because
like,
you didn't post the black square on your Instagram?
well, I called Portland a little bit white trashy.
That's facts, though.
That's facts, right? Portland's white trashy as fuck. Because okay, I'll explain the story. They were trying to pay me to build him a brand. Remember Tyson Ranch?
Yeah.
Yes.
They wanted me to build the psychedelic version, and I, you know, do what I do. That's the consulting things that I do. You know, whether it's with the UFC and universities or trap shit like this. This is how I make my money. And going to the meeting, and I'm like, look, I thought of all this stuff. This is this is the game plan. This is our first office in Southern Oregon. Why not Portland? I was like, well, Mike, have you seen Portland? Like, it's a little bit white trashy, man. We don't want to go up there. And he just was like, what? What are you saying? I was like, yeah, man, fucking no trash like white trash. Sit down. We have a meeting. You know, and I was presenting information. He just like sat there fucking staring at me. And I was like, Mike seems pissed. You know?
That's scary.
And it just, and then all of a sudden he starts shifting and starts talking shit. And I was like, what? Wait, what? He's like, you're a fucking you know, he starts talking shit. And I was like, wait, like, asking me these like frantic questions. And he goes, you know, you're a fucking racist. And I was like, wait, whoa, against who? He goes, white people. And I was like, okay, this is where I realized you're just crazy. You know, like you're just that person that's high on mushrooms. Because I called Portland a little bit white trashy. I'm like, I'm sorry, I made a joke out of it because I'm a fucking trained comedian. You know, I tried to roll it into a second joke and it didn't work. He got very offended. And then we almost fought. He starts threatening my life and stood up, and I stood up and I was like, fuck yeah. You know, I've been waiting for this day, old man.
That was the end of your friendship with Mike?
Yeah, I fed him, I fed him mushrooms after he beat Roy Jones Jr. and gave him ego death, which was cool. It was a cool experience.
That's really
to be able
sick.
to be the person on Monday that comes over, hey, Mike, come see Mike. Slide in and feed him this and say a prayer over him and kind of do my shamanistic sort of work. That didn't end well. So, you know, I just knew that this interactions was too testy. I don't need to fuck around with you because we're going to fuck around and find out and one of us is going to get hurt.
Yeah.
You know, at least the ego, you know what I mean? And I don't need to be fucking playing with a hand grenade.
Just stopping something before it happens.
Have you ever been like humbled though, where you know you're like, I'm going into this, like I'm gonna fuck this guy up, and then all of a sudden you're like, where did that come from?
Oh, of course. You know, you have to be confident. You know, but you get knocked out in front of 40,000 people on your birthday in Japan, high on OxyContin. It's pretty humbling.
That's crazy.
You know? You just have to realize the thing you've been built up to be as this superhero. You're a fantasy for people. Like it's weird. It's a weird ride.
looking back, are there like in your professional career, are there memorable fights that you sort of?
Yeah, the first DJ fight, even though the decision went bad.
I was going to ask you, do you think you won that decision?
Yeah, of course. And I had him dead to rights. I would have finished him in one more round.
Because I watched it back. I think it was close. I'm obviously not a UFC aficionado,
but you can tell I won that fight. And it was close.
You were on his head that whole fight. There wasn't any stopping on your part.
No. So it forever changed the course of my life.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I literally went upstairs, and I was sober at that point. I went upstairs and I started doing Oxycontin again. As I can't catch a break, woe is me, why, whatever,
It's tough, and
bullshit.
That's the whole scoring is
messy. And that was obviously my own fault. I didn't know how to deal with myself.
Do you think he like paid off the refs or anything?
No. Australians just can't count. That's all.
Bueno.
Una hora.
I was gonna ask you though. I mean, what is like the biggest lesson you could take from those type of losses?
I didn't learn anything until years later. I was just a crazy person going. I learned what not to do technically, sure, but like the moral lessons that all came with it, with bad relationships and drug use and fucking all that stuff that constantly infected my life. Constantly. Not training properly, abusing my body, with drugs and women and just like toxic environment lifestyle that I led. That was more the biggest thing I had to get over, and it took a while, still working on it.
Is that what led to your decision to retire from
The
MMA?
brain damage. The brain damage was so intense I wanted to kill myself. The UFC was, they were giving me all these different therapies. God bless them. They were fucking sending me to all kinds of stuff to take care of me. Transcranial magnetic stimulation, which is like $500 a session.
That's crazy.
And they were putting me twice a day for months. People talk shit, but they're great. And I help them be better. That's the thing. I go out of my way all the time. Hey, check this out. Let's try this. And I'm not making money off it. I don't have a job doing this. They're just my friends. Hopefully with the new study we'll get to actually right now. The UFC has verbally agreed to doing a microdosing study. Phase 2 starts in like 2 or 3 months. So where did it go? Fucking thing. Phase 2 starts. Phase 1 is novel technology. I've never been tested with a tech, so I can't speak on it properly. But getting some sort of analytics, some sort of data on the body, And I'm looking to do, even with especially with ayahuasca, fecal testing, gut biome stuff, brain, heart, blood. I want to test all of it because I have to know what happens. I can't just know this one thing. There's a whole cascade effect of how to deal with the body. But the UFC is going to start putting people, once phase 2 starts, it's CBD and psilocybin. So, they fly home on a Sunday. Fight's over, you fly home.
So this is going to be with active fighters, the testing. Oh, wow.
The TBI has to be within 3 days. So it makes sense that they could go straight from wherever they're fighting to Miami. And then I put them into a study where they'll be there for a week and they'll get paid. They'll make a couple grand.
That's not bad.
Which is cool. The UFC
for
being a test subject.
Yeah. That's
cool. And
they're
in Miami.
Exactly. They're in Miami after a fight. Everyone knows they just fought. It's beautiful. So both sides say I'm going to have a job facilitating the whole thing. But I've had so much smoke blown up my ass in this industry about all these jobs and 6-figure salaries I'm going to have. And that's not why I did this. As long as they're doing the study, that's all I care about. If they want to afford me to facilitate the whole thing and educate everybody and travel and fucking be that person, that's a lot of work. My life is very comfortable, so that would take a high 6-figure salary for me to become, and that sounds weird. I mean, it's a dream job, but is my life's already so nice here.
I know your worth, dude.
I know my worth. I don't want to be away from my kid. I don't need to travel. I already travel too much, and it hurts. Like, I love traveling. I can't complain about my job. I get to travel and hang out with cool people and help people heal and take drugs.
Yeah, you've been open about facing like challenges in your personal life, but how do you think that's sort of shaped you to be the person you are today?
That's where I can be a coach. I've fucked up everything. I've done everything wrong. And I've also achieved crazy success. I've hit the bottom and up and done all these right and wrong things. And I just want to make the path more clear. I'm not trying to be somebody's life coach. Harold it is. Fucking Tony Robbins.
Sure.
No. I'm just trying to help you perform better. I want to test your brain. I want to be behind the curtain. I want to just make sure that everyone's okay and make them perform, and they can, in turn, tell their new fans about psychedelics. Because I've told my story way too many times. I've been in Forbes, and I've been on HBO, and I've been on the cover of LA Weekly, which is like 16 million copies with my fucking face on it, talking about psychedelics.
Wow.
Fight shaman. And I was like, please don't call me a shaman, whatever you do. Whatever you do, man. And this fucking douchebag journalist.
How hard was it for you early on when you started like pushing this psychedelic thing for you to beat the stigma on it? Because I'm sure it was hard with professional athletes and drugs. Those don't seem like they go well together.
Coming from someone who was a huge drug addict and degenerate.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, everybody, listen, hold on. I don't think anyone really knew how I don't want to say smart I was. Educated, learned. Sure, I have some sort of genius in me if I'm going to be the best in the world at something. Violence was my art.
You have to.
You have to. Like, we're not stupid people when you achieve these things. But now I was able to apply it in a different way, and it was just so fringe. I saw it coming, and I was like, all right, the world needs me to help guide this, be part of the ecosystem that guides this, because I'm not the only one. We have to have a team of people, men, women, all walks of life. You go to these conferences, and like I was at the MAPS conference in Colorado, over 12,000 people. The amount of high-level people I met, because of course I talk all day. That's what I do. I'm not speaking on stage, but I was there meeting after interaction. And the whole time, you're taking people's psychedelics and you're smoking joints and you're fucking talking, and there's a whole like charade. And I just go to like eat lunch by myself. I put my earbuds in, and that's where everyone sits down to eat, because it's a free, not a free meal, but it comes with being one of the members or one of the people that's part of the conference. And each time people like tap you and like, hey, will you take those out? I'm like, fuck, yes.
Yeah.
And you start talking to people, and each and every interaction, people I would never talk to in my life. I'm kind of a hermit anyways. Or I'm just like, whoa, you're really fucking cool. You have a really cool story. You can, and they always ask, how can I help? I'm a doctor. I'm this. I'm a scientist. I'm this. And I was like, wow, okay. I know I'm on the right path, because I have all these really smart people who I know I probably look like a thug to most of them. It's fine. I do. Can't change how I look. But just being around all these smart people. That's what you got to do. You guys are all young, smart people. You don't have stupid friends.
All about who you surround yourself with.
Don't have stupid friends.
Man, these guys are.
What advice do you have for people coming up that kind of face the same battles? And
start martial arts. Honestly, it'll change the fabric of your reality.
No, but for fighters that are starting out, that are going through the same struggles and
with head trauma,
with
maybe drugs too,
drugs
or
and those type of.
I have, I won't say his name, but I have a young athlete that I just found out is on fentanyl. I had no idea, and as a coach, I'm like,
he came clean.
Yeah, I'm like, oh fuck, how did I miss that? As someone who used to do fentanyl, how the fuck did I not catch this? You know what I mean? I'm like a mentor to this.
Is he in your gym every day?
Not anymore. He's
But still, he's like up and coming.
Yeah, amateur.
Wow.
And that hurts. And I'm nothing against him. I want to help. I've been there, dude. Like, I know what the trials and tribulations of being an addict are. So, yeah, man, it's I'm just here to help, show people that the rehab model, the abstinence model, even, sometimes you need to be fucking sober. A lot of times, you need to be sober and
Sometimes
feel how that feels. But There's also varying levels of, there's Cali sober, you're taking mushrooms, you know, smoking a little
That's
weed.
a thing.
Yeah.
I thought that's weed.
Cali, so whatever, weed and mushrooms is Cali sober. But you know, you have to just find what works for you and what, cause a lot of parts of cannabis are very healing, you know, but are you abusing it too much? You know, like we have to kind of monitor all these parts of our life. Cause if you just go to a rehab, you're fucked off for months and they're trying to feed you full of, you know, things mentally and drugs, other drugs that aren't the most productive to you being a fucking person in society. You know, you get cut in this, like, hanging out with a bunch of rehab people. It's not fun. It's fucking miserable, and I've been there twice. So, you know, to be an integrated person in society and to educate yourself and to walk them through whether it's detox or the addiction process or what traumas are leading to the addiction, that's what I help people figure out. What happened? When did you start feeling like this? Why? You know, and get down to the root of it, and then just most of them are going through, all of them actually, not most of them, are going through psychedelic work. And I don't provide the psychedelics because as a coach, it's not my job. Will I go sit with a wealthy client that wants to go, or not, it doesn't have to be wealthy. If someone's going to pay for me, obviously, to go out of state or out of the country to go to, like, you know, some fancy resort, I'll do it. But again, I'm the coach. I'm coaching you through the process. You know, there's shamans and there's a few different people, you know, that you have to deal with within the space. But I will lead friends. Like, if you guys want to do a free ceremony, we go down to the reservation. Where's my phone? Right here. The Church of the People for Creator and Mother Earth. You go see my shaman, or he hates being called a shaman. He's a Native American healer. He's my brother. His name's Shane Norte. And awesome. he will go and do his Wamkish. And you guys can actually talk about it and have him on after, too.
What's a Wamkish?
It's a teepee without a top.
Yeah, wait. What?
So 8-foot-high walls, 8-foot-high tarped walls, and he builds a fire in the middle. And there's no music. There's prayer, and there's intention setting, and there's talk. But he builds the fire, and this fire fucking grows and grows and grows, and pretty soon you're, like, backed up against the side of it, and it's just like you're talking to the fire, going through the process. And we take very large doses.
Wait, you're trapped. Are you trapped?
You're not trapped. You can get out anytime you want.
Okay.
But that's not your process, is to go through, because fire is one of the oldest things in the universe. You know, fire is the start of life. So it's got a lot to teach you. And you learn the fire talks to you, shows you visions. It's pretty wild. And then also, you're in there and you're burning, you know, local sage and cedar and stream water and heating the rocks. The rocks have a life of their own. And then he'll start to burn sage. You know, he'll give you some sage, and you crush up sage and you breathe it in, and it's really rich with DMT, or dimethyltryptamine, which is the strongest psychedelic there is, outside of, I guess, 5-MeO DMT, but that's more from a frog.
Speaking of different
Yeah,
language. Tim,
yeah.
right?
So there's these molecules that you get, and to smell the sage.
It's like what frogs? Like,
Well, the DMT, there's the frog poison,
Yeah,
and then there's the actual plant-based DMT is in our bodies. It's in a bunch of, it's in a lot of
Wait, isn't there a natural DMT?
It's like serotonin, right?
Kinda. It's kinda, yeah, actually. I guess you could in some way, shape, and form a neuro.
Zach's a scientist over here.
I mean, so it works off the serotonin receptors.
Oh, okay.
That's the thing.
So it helps release more.
So,
serotonin.
like psilocybin, for instance, is a serotonin analog. So the molecule looks very similar. It excites the same receptor, and then gives your body the response, which is epigenetic neurogenesis, which is super healing for the body. But so when we're in there, Shane, most people will go, a big dose is 3.5 grams. That's the benchmark for a big dose for you to take. And don't be at fucking Coachella. If you're going to get to know the medicine, do it at home or with a healer. You know, do it at home in your bed with your girlfriend or with your friends.
Is it shrooms?
Yeah.
I hear, like, take it in, like, an open field, or, like...
You can. Depends how high. I would, if you're going to go for therapy, do it indoors. Do it indoors where it's safer.
Oh, not alone, right? With someone that
have
you
a
trust?
baby, have a babysitter, or you know, if you know, have a babysitter, set some intentions. Like, there's a few ways we could go about to set up a ceremony. But I would say, I'll give you some homework. We go see Shane. There's actually, tomorrow is the Sweat Lodge. I might run down to San Diego for a sweat lodge
You
tomorrow.
guys in little basement talk.
Yo, I was gonna ask you guys, would you do something like that?
I've thought about it. I've never done it though.
And these are deep. This is not 3.5 grams. He serves up to like.
It's a trip.
Can you die?
Well, yeah,
10
but as
no,
our
10
first time, 3.5 is
10
3.5
grams.
is a lot, but
bueno, right?
if you want, but the
So if you're microdosing, you're a bitch. You can't go down there.
I wouldn't say you're a bitch, but
I mean, like if I took 1 gram, I mean,
1 gram, you're going to feel it. Now, what most people do within the space, Shane's not going to force you to take 10 grams. People take about 10 grams in there. And because 10 grams, most people go, that's crazy. I'm like, when you drink ayahuasca, you're getting the same sort of out-of-body experience. It's all on the same level, and you're in a safe container with people like me babysitting you and, you know, making sure you're safe. And it's not, when you're in that safe container, you can take 20 grams your first time. I know plenty of people who do.
I feel like I'd take 20 grams and then instantly regret it.
I'm actually like genuine.
how long does it last?
8 hours, 6 hours, 6 to 8 hours.
Can you kind of describe like what that out of body experience is actually like? Because it's that sounds crazy to me. Like, how is that even possible?
So I've taken 20 grams. I was in the Yucatan, in the jungles in Mexico, and I was with a shaman, very famous, the most famous lineage of mushroom shaman in Mexico, the Mazatecs. Maria Sabina's family. She was the first shaman to give a Westerner medicine back in the 1953. It was my mentor's mentor, Gordon Wasson. I've got I know all the right people, and they've all saw me as this famous fucking guy getting all this shine within psychedelics, and they were like, okay, hold on, we have to coach. You're not going to stop, so we're going to coach you through this.
Yeah, show you how to do it right type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Don't fuck this up for us, please. And you know, you go through this process. Shane was the first person I ever sat with, shamanistically. I had done tons of medicine on my own, tons. Fucking, you know, I think I'd already taken 15 grams, 12 grams. But
Just like alone in your house?
Yeah.
Did your girlfriend do it too?
Yeah. I was always with a woman.
Holy
But
shit.
what is that like though? Like out of body experience? Like what is that?
What's that like with a woman?
Have you like do you have sex with it?
Yeah. And
Is
this
that
is the thing.
sex like
when
on
you
mushrooms? We
when
need
you
to
like
know.
orgasm
Yes.
like
Oh, okay. So
It's not like Molly or
Yeah,
like,
where it like ruins it for the rest
you know,
of your
ecstasy,
life, right?
where it's like
it doesn't ruin it. It makes you just want to do it again.
Well, have you had sex on ecstasy
I've had
before?
sex on all these drugs until it hurts. Okay, I'm a drug
until
researcher.
you can't, right?
Yeah, bro. I've been having drug fueled orgies since I was a teenager.
That's awesome.
And as a researcher, that's, you know, I get it. This is part of the space. This is part of the human condition as a person who was a savage, and it's what I've always done. But I've really fallen back on the realization that psychedelics and sex can be extremely sacred, but have no place in ceremony. In ceremony, there's no sex involved. There's not even. We have to keep these people, especially women. We have to keep women safe, and there is no. We don't touch them. You know, like. If I'm in charge, maybe I'll lay down with one of them to make sure they're okay because they're my friends and they trust me. You know what I mean? There's a level of thing here, but it's just we have to create a safe space for people to heal. Now, if you have a girlfriend or, you know, a lovely lady friend that wants to go deep with Molly or go deep with ketamine or any psychedelic, LSD, mushrooms, go fucking fuck your brains out for 8 hours, have a great time. It's a lot of fun, you know? But make sure, obviously, like this is something you sit down with someone you're trying to grow with. You're like, hey, look, I love the fuck out of you. Yeah. You want to go deeper? You know, we'll sit and it's you talk to, because it drops the fear response in your body. And as humans, we want this wild peak experience of love and sex. You're never going to be more in love and never had better sex at these peak experiences. It doesn't ruin sex for you. You just know the capabilities of sex. And your body and their bodies and all this wild shit that you know, as an adult, you fall into like the weird, whatever the fuck you're into, because adults are weird. And sex is so, it runs the world, you know.
It's crazy now.
It is. Oh, dude, especially with like porn and shit and just like, it's pretty gnarly.
OnlyFans?
OnlyFans, yeah.
Would you ever date an OnlyFans girl?
I have.
What was that like?
How did you feel about it?
Yeah, like how did you deal with like were you cool?
Wait, before we get into that, we were on the shrooms. They say, you know, Cali has the best weed, Colombia has the best coke. Where do you get the best shrooms from?
This guy.
We got the plug.
Yeah, I got you. And that's the thing is, I was the face of a mushroom company for a while. Now I'm the face of a nonprofit in science. I'm very open to the fact that, I mean, I talk to the DEA and the CIA and shit. Like, we're in contact. They're friends of mine. I talk to like 3-star generals. Like, I'm working at a high level, and I'm like, look, I'm providing those people, their wives, their kids, their parents, their brothers and sisters with medicine. Like, seriously, it's everyone is taking this. It's in the know, in an educated world, and loving it, and it's helping people. So I know a bunch of brands. I consult for a bunch of brands that are making everything from ketamine lollipops to MDMA gummies or
That's horse tranquilizer, right?
No, it's a
Ketamine's a regular tranquilizer, right?
Yeah, it's a dissociative. It's a anesthetic, you know, for surgery.
Because I know that's big in Europe, especially England. They're huge on cat.
And yes, you can hit anything biologic with it, and it's gonna fuck them up. Horse, cat, human. And I work with a ketamine company, Better You, and I'm also the athlete care coordinator for a ketamine clinic. And I'm trying to get him to come to in Miami for a retreat. If you guys want to come too.
I'd love to go back there either way.
Yeah,
I love that.
Brickle?
Miami, and this will be more about healing than going to Miami to party. Yeah. There's no party, you know, and maybe after, but you're going to have intravenous ketamine therapy.
I feel like that's a perfect time to meet a Miami girl is when you're healed, though. You're just you're open to everything.
And you know what? Like, mommy, those Latin women, like I just thinking about one person specifically.
Same.
Amazing.
Do tell.
No. She's famous. I can't talk about her. But
Celebrity crush?
Latina women. No, just a woman I dated. She played a healer on Netflix. I was like, hey, I want to learn about healing. And I was like, I bet you do. Slid in my DMs.
Guy's sly.
I don't know. I have 2 superpowers. 1, I can fight. And number 2, pretty girls like me.
Damn, Zach needs that second one.
It's been a thing my whole life. And
Yo, Zach?
I take it with responsibility. You know, like
You know what they called Zach in high school?
Oh, bro.
One punch.
They did though.
Yeah, Zach actually knocks
like a
people out.
month.
I'm not trying to like
Some of us
gas
got-
him up, but my boy knocks people
I
out.
ain't knock anybody out, but I was a little. I was scrappy.
I actually tell
Scrappy,
Zach,
dude.
I tell
he tells
Zach,
me I have a good build for fighting.
Yes.
because
yeah, how tall are you?
I'm like 6 foot.
How much do you
with my
weigh?
Shoes. I'm like 140.
Yeah.
45.
Yeah, bro,
I'm
you're a
light.
boxer.
Yeah, I'm a
Dude.
boxer, right?
I think he
Yo,
could go.
I got the hands
Sugar
too.
Sean.
Wait,
like,
can we
I
go
think we need to
like
go to his gym.
Sean's like your size. Well, he's
Yeah.
not 140
Sugar
pounds. He's probably
Sean.
$160 cutting, 55 cutting down.
He's got a
wait,
bigger
can we
wingspan than me
wait,
too.
can you kick
No, I'm not kicking
him, dude?
oh, yeah, actually,
No.
Nah, just kick him.
This might be a deciding factor in
Come
my
to the-
MMA.
come to
game.
the
I
gym.
did want to take a leg kick.
Come to the gym and I'll
take a leg kick,
I'm not
bro.
kicking you here. Come to the gym, sign up, and you know, like people are like, well, I don't know, how do I hire you? I'm like, just become a student. I'm like, you don't have to pay me a bunch of money. I read philosophy after every class. Come learn jiu-jitsu from me.
Take
I'd
a
actually love to do. I'm gonna.
No, that
do
would be awesome.
Yeah.
Me and him want to
Yeah.
start doing that.
We have an
talk about that
amazing
after the
gym
pod.
called Peaceful Warrior in Dana Point, where we've got high level, really good coaches.
I want to get my ass kicked. I want to learn.
Yeah,
It'll be fun.
that's
I want to kick his ass.
through pressure. But pressure does 2 things. Okay, it bursts pipes and it creates diamonds. So we're trying to create diamonds. And if you do burst, I wanted it to be on the mat with me, because nothing you go through in life is going to be harder than me choking the shit out of you and making it suck for you, just in a very gentle, loving way. Because that's what we're looking to do, is to put pressure on us so we can achieve these states of enlightenment through.
Can we do me and Zach versus you?
Sure, let's do it.
Can we just fuck him?
Yo, what was your walkout song?
Avenged Sevenfold
Okay.
band.
All right. I'm not familiar with
Okay,
them.
so they used to be, I don't know if they still are, one of the biggest metal bands in the world.
Oh, okay.
And they're from Huntington Beach, and they're dear friends of mine.
Oh, that's badass.
So I was always like, hey, man, what's your new single? I don't give a fuck what music I walked out to. It's a bunch of heavy metal. So I was like, sure, that'll work. And they would always post for me on Facebook and on social media. They'd always say, oh, look, they only make they've got, back then they had like 25 million followers on Facebook. That was fucking 10 years ago.
Wait, I gotta ask you. Do you think like one of those woman fighters can beat the shit out of you?
Oh, you know what I was gonna
Really?
say too?
There's not a woman. There's not a woman on this planet that could beat me.
For real?
Yeah, when I
Like
promise
not
you.
even like the craziest one right now. Really? They're
No,
fucking
dude,
crazy
it's just
though.
facts. Dude.
It's
We
facts,
tested it.
I don't know.
No,
They
it's
look
facts.
pretty
Good.
crazy.
It wouldn't be fun.
I mean-
it wouldn't be fun fighting fucking Amanda
It's like-
Nunes or Valentina Shevchenko.
Nah, she kicked my ass.
Those chicks, and because Carla Esparza,
Yeah.
she's a 2-time world champion and UFC champion. That's like my little sister.
She'd like cut up your face though, no?
No, she tore my hip.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, she's fucking mean. And again, these little bitches, they can hurt you. You know what I'm saying?
It's like soccer, right?
But
you think the best.
But you know,
Life or
this
death
is
situation.
this
You
this
know?
is
But-
no this is I trained with women my whole life.
Photo.
Ashley Evans Smith. These are women that I've trained with and seen how good they are. I'll fuck up all these chicks, and I suppose I still train every day. That's the thing. I'm not fat and out of shape. You know what I mean? So I'll just.
Kyler was thinking about becoming the first transgender
Dude, shut
UFC
the
fighter.
Bro,
Dana wouldn't even let that happen, dude. Come on.
you know what? If she had a big enough following, maybe.
Yeah, for real.
That's back.
I was gonna say
Whatever
though,
gets pay-per-view.
have you ever thought? Because I feel like no one's thought of this, but why haven't they done UFC heavyweight girls?
Because I don't know, dude. It's not entertaining.
Would you not pay to watch that?
No, I
Not
wouldn't
in the
at
least.
all.
Not in the least.
I would love to watch that. Heavyweight girls
Come on,
fighting.
two fat chicks getting down. That would be hilarious.
You don't even have to be fat. They could just be like,
Just like
can just look
yeah.
that up
Oh,
on
I didn't even
Twitter.
think about that. Like bodybuilder
There's
chicks.
some girls, dude. There's this one chick from Eastern Europe. That's I don't know where she's Russian maybe. And she's like 6'6",
Jesus.
and she's actually really hot, but she's fucking a big person. So there's some people I wouldn't want to fight her. Dude. She's huge. She's a 6'6" or some shit.
You think she would beat you up?
No.
if they do this too, I need some
Put
equity.
a hole in her chest.
I need some equity. If Dana, you take that idea from me, just saying.
Yeah.
No.
But that's different. Like I know I'm an elite level savage. Like I remember one time, speaking of how I knew the level of us comparative to a normal person. This wasn't even normal people.
Because your hands are illegal.
These motherfuckers were trained Marines. We were in Japan, and this is the only fight I got in over the last like 15 years. We're doing seminars. The military is paying me a lot of money to be out there to train, and I've got a bunch of other athletes with me who more than one of them are ranked top 5 in the world right now, all under 145 pounds. And we take a whole week long trip there. We're doing all this cool stuff on base and going to see things. And I'm like, all right, last night here, I'm going to take the kids out. You guys have worked hard. I'm buying dinner. Like, let's all go get fucked up and have fun in town. We got to live the experience. Go to sushi, some famous sushi place I set up. Fucking made everyone drink beer. We got fun. I'm like, let's have a good time. We're here. And I smuggled a bunch of weed out there. So I was feeding them like cannabis, which is super illegal. Don't do
Got
that.
it on base too.
Yeah, on base, and I smuggled this in Japan.
You're like your dad, dude, smuggling that shit around.
I smuggled so much weed out there with me. It's so stupid. Like yeah, to Japan?
Yeah.
Yeah. Really illegal. Really fucking illegal.
I didn't know that.
Mind you, he's
tripping,
on a
like,
military
on the
base
plane
bringing all
or-
of
No,
this.
yeah,
That's
I
insane.
just fucking, you just
Sergeant?
hide in plain sight. Yeah, exactly. How's it going, sir? Yeah. So I've always been doing this. I've traveled my life as a consumer of drugs. Like
You just adapt.
What's your favorite place ever to travel to? Because you've traveled so much.
Mexico.
Mexico?
What part specifically?
The Yucatan is where I love to go. That's where my former fiance was from. She just left me like a month ago.
damn.
It happens. She's a Ukrainian Canadian that lives in Mexico. We got engaged and she moved up here and then bounced.
That's a crazy mix.
Right. I love Ukrainian girls. They're my favorite.
It's fucked up though, dude.
It happens. We're adults.
So throughout your career, you kind of got to see the evolution of like MMA.
Yeah.
How do you think it's going, and where do you think it's going?
They're athletes. They're no longer savages. There's some people like Chito Vera who's a fucking savage. There's a few, but the overwhelming sense of fighter is, they're just not, it's not the same. They're better than we were. They really are. More well-trained, more diverse. There's just something missing. Or maybe we've seen savagery so long that we're just like, this is cool.
You feel like there's another thing that needs to like pop off for it to
Bare
be
knuckle.
bare knuckle is gnarly.
I thought that was gross, so I'm now coaching Mark Irwin, the bare knuckle boxing world champion.
I saw that.
We won a world title May 13th, and
Dude, that
Bare
stuff is
knuckle,
gnarly.
bare
That
knuckle
shit's
boxing.
crazy.
Unless you're
Slap
Mike,
boxing?
unless you're Mike
Here,
Perry.
let me go take a piss. I know Mike's crazy.
Oh shit. Yo, can you get her on the pod, bro? She's not hot. She's beautiful. She's a Latina from Miami. Would she come on the podcast? Obviously, with your consent.
I think she would just sit there in bed and just look at her. Fuck, no matter what position you take, like wherever you go,
She's just perfect.
you just look like that, and she's used to being with like fucking, actor dudes. So she sees me with my shirt off at the end of the table, end of the bed, and she's just like, whoa, it's just
It's different. We were just out in Miami. We had fun.
Miami's
Dude.
amazing.
So fun.
Every girl we walked by, and we've said this already on the episode.
And we live in Orange County, by the way, where we have the hottest girls, but not Miami, dude. Oh
You know what it
my-
is? It's just different.
It's completely
Argentinians.
This is the white girl cinch capital of the world. Here in like Texas, maybe Houston. You know what I mean?
Gotta go there.
Maybe
But
Nashville.
let me ask you guys
Nashville,
something.
but Houston's got the best white girl strip clubs in the country.
White girl strip
What's
clubs?
up, Oves? What?
The women here, specifically in Orange County, are so materialistic now, and it's like they know they're hot, and like they play that game. Is that the same in Miami?
I'm sure Miami's even worse.
That have big
But
Cuban
you know what I'm
link.
saying?
No,
right?
you know
Like,
what? Like after dating a Latina from Miami, and understanding, like, no, it's just they're just more friendly out there. In Orange County, like I don't like dating American girls. I don't know. We don't align value wise. I'm a little conservative, I guess. But I don't know. I'm very open conservative. I just like things a certain way, and I want a family and shit. So Americans seem to provide the best version of that for me. But
You
Miami,
want like a home, like a girl to like come home to, and she's like
Yeah.
making you dinner and shit.
yes, 100%.
Yeah.
You can. You live with me. You don't have a job. You just take care of kids and do the wife thing.
And she
I
like
like that.
cleans the house and all that.
Yeah. And
Do you want her to like
we'll get
stay
you-
home
we'll-
or
we'll-
work?
If you want to work. But first things first, take care of yourself
Yeah.
and take care of my kin. Take care of my children.
Yep.
Take care of my home. If you want a project, some company you want to start, whatever the fuck you want to do it. Go for it. Have a job. You want to, whatever, you figure it out. But there's a certain rule, and she doesn't have to do any of that stuff. She doesn't have to have a job. Just has to focus on herself and being my, incredibly beautiful and talented wife. Keep looking like you look.
That's the goal.
For as long as possible. Work out, eat right, be an open, loving, like just being of happiness. Be the vessel that takes care of my child, because my kid's fucking special. I've already met my kid twice on mushrooms. My unborn child, my unborn son. I know he's coming, and mushrooms showed me I'm having a son. And I already look at my kid I have now, and she's fucking incredible.
Mhm.
She's like,
I remember when she was little.
I did really well.
Yeah.
And she is, so, I take pride in the genetics we're passing, the pure blood genetics, no non-vaccinated fucking healthy as shit world
You
champion.
guys get vaccinated?
No.
Good.
No.
What do you like? What's like your go-to date when you take a girl out?
Oh, man.
I know you have clout, though,
Just
so.
dinner. No, I don't. I mean, I'm almost 40, dude. I don't go to nightclubs. I went to nightclubs this weekend because I was in LA. I was speaking at a conference, and I'm in Hollywood, so
Why not?
I text my gay best friend, and I'm like, "Yo, where you at?" He does the choreography for Britney Spears and all these people. He's from Dancing with the Stars.
I bet you he brings around a lot of cool chicks.
Yeah, cool people in general. Like he's an incredible person, and his mom was in town this weekend for the first time. So I finally got to meet her because he doesn't have family in this country, so I've always been like a brother to him.
That's cool.
And to meet her and just it was fun to take her out. She's like 70, out on the town. My brother's girlfriend's in from Vegas with her friends, so I take her to some bougie place, and I just have to text him and go, "Hey, where do I go? Meet me here." And I go to the front, and the person's like, Ian, oh, they give me a hug. It's fucking good to see you again. And I'm with my friends, and I'm like, I don't know who the fuck this is. Yeah, I'm like, I've been going to Hollywood since I was a teenager, so I've met all these people a lot, and some of them I do actually know by face. I walk up and I'm like, what's up, dude? How are you guys? You know, good to see you.
I really wanted to ask you too, like, and this is going back to the fighting stuff real quickly, but what does your diet look like during training camp versus after?
And also discipline.
So discipline, I'm disciplined. That's what I do. That's what got me here. You know, like, that's why taking the chick out on a date somewhere, like, let's get dinner. I'll go spend some money. I'll feed you. I'll feed you a nice meal. You know what I mean? Like, we can go, I don't know, it just depends. Like, go to the fair. Fair's always fun. I do adult type shit that kids want to do. You know, let's go to a museum. You know, I don't know, do something educational for myself.
Maybe take her to a tent in Mexico.
That's like girlfriend wifey shit.
Girlfriend wifey.
You know, if I'm gonna just be like, hey, you want to just go to Mexico? Like,
let's go see a shaman.
Yeah, right. Let me put my healing inside you. That's what we're trying to stay away from.
That's a good pickup line.
Yeah, right. That's what we're trying to stay away from happening in the space. But yeah, honestly, my favorite dates are, let's go to Mexico, or let's go somewhere, or I meet women in other countries, and I'll come down and
The spontaneous ones.
I'll spend a week in Mexico, and that's just where I met my fiance. So I go down. I have all these friends all over the world. I go stay somewhere nice and meet some cool chick, and
that's awesome.
Are there any like goals or aspirations that you have for the future? Either if that's, you know, within fighting or beyond that.
I'm now a sponsored athlete, professional athlete again. They're paying a lot of money for jiu-jitsu. I do jiu-jitsu every day. So for me to travel somewhere and fuck some other dude up for money, I'm like, once a month I can do that.
Sure.
You know, for perfect. That's totally cool. And that's the way I push my nonprofit. I told them, you're not paying me, you're paying the nonprofit. I have money. I need to push this. And obviously the nonprofit, the office is at my house. You know, I'm very open about the things it pays for. You know, like, I'm not here taking a salary, being weird with it. I'm just trying to further research and help other people. So that's where I'm going with this. I don't know for how long I can keep it up, but I think jiu-jitsu I can keep up for a long fucking time, especially the way I'm built.
For sure.
And the healing that I have.
You look great too.
Thank you. But back to the diet and stuff. I mean, I'm up. I'll fast. I'll teach and train in the morning. I'll go home, maybe do yoga. You know, it just depends. My eating schedule, sometimes I eat early, sometimes I don't, sometimes I fast. Just always like keeping my body guessing. But every day it's 6 eggs, 6 raw eggs that I just drink down. Mainly the yolk. The outer part, the white part, is where bacteria lives because that's what touches the shell. So you get rid of as much of that as possible.
So you eat the cholesterol, not the protein.
Well, I both. But there's just, like I said, the outer layer is where the bacteria lives. So you have
the egg whites?
Yeah.
Is egg meat?
Is egg meat? It's
an egg.
It's an egg.
It's meat, right?
Not quite. It's embryo.
Might have just dropped a bombshell.
I think it's meat.
Did the chicken come first or the egg?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Good question. I should know that. But an avocado, 6 raw eggs, and fruit. That starts my day. Lots of coffee, good coffee and tea and stuff. And then at night, I'll usually have a steak with some mushrooms. You know, I cook it by myself.
Like psilocybin?
Like lion's
which
mane.
mushrooms?
Yeah.
I live a hermit kind of lifestyle. You know, I'm very easy. I live in a tiny little apartment. I sold my house during COVID like an idiot. But I don't know. I don't give a fuck. I have a small apartment, a condo by the beach. I just chill.
In Dana?
It's technically San Juan, but I can see the harbor.
Sure.
Oh, that's nice.
You know, back in that canyon back there.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Are you natty?
Am I natty? No, I take a lot of peptides, and I've been modulating my hormones since I retired.
Dude, should I
peptide
take peptides?
This guy, we need to get this guy back in the gym.
Yeah,
I
remember
know.
me, dude?
I know he was fit. That's why I met him.
You need to get on him, dude. It's bad.
Ian knew me in my prime.
Yeah.
Replace that.
And I had a girlfriend.
You peaked at 15, or what was it?
Yeah, seriously.
That was his prime.
Had a fire chick.
Oh my God, this fucking most beautiful little couple ever walking to the gym. My buddy was dating her older sister, and I was like, "How the fuck old are they?"
Fuck,
They're
dude.
Oh,
20
is that how you guys kind of?
25.
That's a trip.
Life being a trainer at Lifetime. When I retired, I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up, so I was like, "I'll be a trainer. Fuck it."
I used to see him every day.
And I hung out there, and that's where I started doing all my performance research with psychedelics. I was high all the time. I was high
Staying in
literally
around Lifetime?
every day. I'm microdosing on whether it's psilocybin, LSD, MDMA. There was lots of party going on in that building.
Does the steam room get weird on mushrooms?
No. It's
laugh, dude.
if you drop the fear response and you do it properly and don't take too much, you can withstand hotter temperatures, colder temperatures. It drops the fear response in the body, so you can take it. But yeah, my life is weird, so whether it doesn't have to be in a steam room.
I'll tell you what, Lifetime is. I don't know. That place got a little weird. So
Yeah, I stopped hanging out there because it's too distracting. I slept my way through that place as a trainer. And it was just like,
it's like Miami.
Doing this again? Yeah, right? I'm like, fuck.
Dude, how many like gym chicks hit on you?
I was the new toy.
It was insane.
I was the new,
remember
like,
that.
oh, you're the world champion guy. And
Yeah.
and they would share me or they would pass me on to their friends. And I was like, this is not.
that's
this is
crazy.
Yeah,
not
I
good for
remember this,
Not
bro.
good for my addictions.
Yeah.
So it was.
That'll be fun though.
Yeah.
At a point.
At a point, but when you really
What's not
look at
fun about that?
when you look at yourself, because it has nothing to do with this person that's in front of you.
Yeah.
All their pussies look the same, boys. You gotta
No,
remember,
I don't think
gotta
so,
remember
dude.
that.
Maybe a Lifetime.
At Lifetime, yeah, because they're paying like $350 a month.
But I'm
so
saying, like, I'm being gross, but it's
Yeah.
true. It's the same product.
it's the same thing.
It's who is attached to it, and what are you doing to get this, and what's the abuse that we're trying to catch bodies?
Yeah, especially with your reputation.
Yeah,
Man,
with your
do I wish I
reputation,
had that
bro. And
problem.
like I've had. It's been gross how many people I've swapped DNA with. It's pretty disgusting when you really think about it in certain terms. Am I gonna keep going? I'm very choosy with who I sleep with. I have a lot of really cool friends. But for me to actually sleep with someone, it's like a whole process. I've done too much ayahuasca. And
Do you have
mushrooms.
like a main though that comes over like every Tuesday?
Or like, have you ever had a fan that's like?
I've had tons of fans. I've had women have more fun than I did and leave my house fucking
Wait.
stoked.
I have a question.
Stoked, bro. And I was just like, so in my addiction, just like, I didn't come. I'm just like, I'm like, fuck. I'm like, it's been
with one of your fans or like your main chicks, have you ever like had her over and like we're watching like fights of you while you're fucking her?
I don't know.
That's like Kobe wanting to watch Basement Talk while he does it.
I
don't know. Like
that sounds
she's
like some shit that I would do.
she's like a fan, so like he's putting on his like fight in the UFC, and then she's like fucking just watching.
I'm
like,
thinking about it, and I know I've watched my fights with chicks and then banged them, but I don't think they were
Not simultaneous.
I don't think they were specifically. I wasn't watching
Rogan.
myself.
Yeah.
I wasn't watching myself.
Yeah, that's
fucking-
Yo, I was
on Joe Rogan.
Have you ever
like
beat it up so
yourself,
good that
dude.
Joe
Yeah,
Rogan
dude,
asks
I
you
don't know.
questions after?
Hey, what?
Have you ever beat it up so good that Joe asks you questions after? That was offside. You don't have
That's
to answer
a bar, actually. He does rapping and shit.
yeah, he
There you go.
raps.
Good. Yeah. I mean, there was so much of that in my life that it was just like it loses its touch. And plus, when you've done as much healing work as I've done, I can't just sleep with somebody. It's a whole process.
Right.
And then when they hear that, they're like, they get all like, they like it even more. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
they're
I'm not
even
trying
more
to do.
attached to you.
I'm not trying to get more attached. I'm trying to tell you like this is going to be a long shot. I don't care what the fuck you look like anymore.
Zach's like, get ready, dude. He's gonna fucking choke you out now at training
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Right?
for saying that.
Come to the gym.
Yeah,
I'm
come
gonna
to
be
the
purple.
I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna beat you up either way. Don't worry.
I love it.
perfect.
Yeah.
I'm here for
That's
it.
awesome.
Well, I mean, to kind of wrap this up and all around, I mean, what does the future look like for you at this current
We
point?
got a few minutes. The future. I'm competing because luckily I have amazing companies behind me. Rockwell Watches is going to make a
I was
watch.
looking at that.
A watch.
Nice.
Cool.
I don't even know if this is the right time. But I wear, Rockwell's trying to make me a watch for my brand, for the nonprofit. Stance is giving me t-shirts and, hopefully I'm going to have a meeting with them in the next week or so. about promoting me more, you know, instead of just giving me free stuff. Like, I don't need money. They actually said that, like, we can't afford you. And I was like, I don't fight for money anymore. You're welcome. Just give me free stuff, outfit my family, outfit my daughter, whoever my chick is, or, you know, we'll figure out some sort of clothing thing I can get, because I like looking good, obviously. You know, I was telling them earlier, if I didn't get free clothes, I would wear what my mom buys me for Christmas. I don't really give a shit, but I know that this whole thing,
it fits, dude.
I know what I'm doing. This is all on purpose. You know, I'd rather be shoeless in the beach, hanging out with my kid under a palm tree, but you know, I have to come out and I have to talk in front of cameras, and I have to get on stage, and I have to travel, and I have to do all this shit that I don't necessarily. Not that I don't want to do it, but it's still work. You know, I know what's waiting for me at home, which is the love of my kid. So that's just more important. As you know, you guys as parents, obviously, all had good parents. I can read you, the young men you are. Like, dads fucking love you so much. Your parents really care for you. And no matter what we do as parents, you know, with the traveling, the business, all this shit, even if, you know, some of them aren't healed and they're doing dumb shit while they're away, you know, like things men do, they still love the fuck out of you. You know, they're broken children. So look at everybody now as a broken child. Your friends, your family, everybody, and you're like, can't get mad at people. You just go, fuck.
Yeah.
What happened, man? You want to talk about it? You know, come on my show and let's talk about it. What's the problem? You know, and use psychedelics responsibly, because I know you guys are going down that route. It's available. I mean, everywhere in California, drugs are so available here. It's wild. Be careful. Set intention. Get to know the medicine first on like a therapeutic, spiritual, like I'm trying to change my life level, and then you can go and you can take in appropriate amounts at Coachella. Run around, chase some.
Definitely consult with you before we do anything.
For sure.
Yeah, you know,
For sure.
and I'm just
Got a good lifeline now.
I'm just a sounding board. I'm just a good resource of information, because you have to choose. You have to make these choices and set the energy and do it yourself, because I can't do it all for you. I can just make sure you have good direction, a good coach. That's what I do. I coach people.
Love
Dude,
it.
we really appreciate you coming
this
on.
was
Of
awesome.
course, that was.
We'll do it again.
I learned a
we
lot.
We've
had a lot of people on where it's been just bullshitting this and that, but like I genuinely learned so much from that. I don't know about you guys, but that was
completely
really
agree.
Thank
That
you.
was awesome.
We appreciate it.
conversation. So.
Yeah, and we'll you know, we can look at some companies maybe want to sponsor or figure out feature other. I got
love
some
to.
really cool people in the space. A lot of artists.
That'd be
my,
awesome.
My
Any
brothers.
of your friends who want to come on too, we'd love to have them.
Yeah, this
so.
is a cool setup, you know, and I can get all my friends some shine. My brother's a DMT artist.
Awesome.
Resist is
Super
his resist art it's R3 SIST resist.
Perfect.
You can find it on my Instagram. Mark Irwin, my bare knuckle boxer. Giorgio Gomez, my surfer. The list goes on. I can get you guys some cool people.
Yeah, we appreciate it. But thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate everything. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you guys so much for the love on the last video. You guys are watching, you're subbing, liking, everything. We're seeing the love.
It's 100,000 views on
Are you fucking serious?
across
Thank you.
multiple platforms.
Yeah.
Not on the episode, but like
just
a bunch of
accumulate.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Like,
That's still a lot.
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
We really appreciate
the
it.
love and the support that we've been getting. And once again, thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
coming
Ian.
on and
thank you, Ian.
sharing your
It's the production value.
words of wisdom and
And we'll make some cool, funny shorts out of
Yeah.
the
For
parts,
sure.
so.
Yeah.
This would be awesome.
Well, thank you guys.
Thanks again.
We'll see you next time. We got a ton of episodes coming out. Peace.
See you guys.